Hi, good evening, everyone. This brings us to the session two of the fundamentals of project management. We covered this slide. Let's move ahead with the next one. We covered this topic: which projects, potential projects, and who identifies them. How are projects selected and categorized based on how many projects can run with existing resources. Extremely important. Meeting marketing policy using methods such as affordable breakdown structures or work breakdown structure and satisfying the return on sales. So if you recall, I covered this in this way. Here if you see that you have certain constraints or certain factors based on you which you select a project. First is internal rate of return IRR. It has to be higher. If you are investing 100,000 rupees into something, you should select a project which will give you a higher rate of return. Second artifact is payback period. Your payback period should be less. Let's say, for example, if there's a project which is giving you 10% return in 10 years and 8% return in 7 years. So, which project it is more closer? So, which project you will choose based on payback period? Time value of money. The value of money is decreasing every day. 100,000, the value of 100,000 now will not be same as 100,000 after 5 years. So this is time value of money, and you can calculate it using this formula: PV is equal to future value upon 1 plus R raised to power n, wherein present value PV is equal to present value, and FV is future value, R is rate of return, and N is number of periods. So, or time. So this is important. That's how you calculate the feasibility. And it is extremely important that you understand how many projects you can run with existing human resource plus resources like man, material, and machine. Meeting marketing policy using work breakdown structures and return of sales is another important thing. So this is the definition given by project management for project management by law 2013. Project management has evolved to plan, coordinate, and control the complex and diverse activities of modern industrial, commercial, and management change and IT projects. The simplest definition of project management is that it is the successful execution of a defined scope of work within the required period of time, within the budgeted expenditure to the required quality. Exactly, as a project manager, your job is to complete the project, maintaining the constraints which are scope, time, cost, quality, resource communication, risk, procurement, stakeholder integration through the life cycles of initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, and closure. As given by Association of Project Management 2018, at its simplest level, the word project is used to describe activities that are done to meet specific objective for change. Exactly. Changes that are managed as products can be amendments to things that already exist or the introduction of new things. If you are having a project and if you are having an app and you just want to add few more features to it, then it is a project which is an amendment to the already existing project. If you are completely developing a new platform and whole of your data will on one particular day your whole of your data will shift from one platform to another, that is introduction of a new platform and it's completely project. So these are two kind of projects. Similarly, you have third one is whatever the causes of the changes and the nature of the project, the principle of project management always apply. Exactly. clarification between project and operations is project by definition is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. When a project is completed, it is given to operations team for handover. For example, if you see, you are getting an internet connectivity done at your house or an office. So one team will, sales team will initiate the uh, contract. Then it will go to operations team. Operations team will come and will do the outside premise cabling and then in building cabling and will set the router switches at your office or house. And once given the confirmation that the internet connectivity is up and okay and you are getting the proper bandwidth of uploading and downloading, once you sign off their handover internally, they will pass on this circuit ID, pass on this project to operations team to run the show. And the operations team will do the regular maintenance. Operations team will work with the billing team in parallel to release the bills every month, and you'll be paying those bills. So that is the difference between project and operations. Now, let's say for example, after some time you request for an upgrade or a downgrade. Now that becomes a separate project, and then you will sign up a contract with the sales team. Internally, it will go to the project team. Project team will do the feasibility again, whether it can be upgraded with the required item lines or can be downgraded. And once it is upgraded or downgraded as per your expectations, you will give a sign off, and then it will be given to the operations team again plus billing team to release the bills. So that's how the operations and projects work in tandem with each other. If you see, I have explained this earlier as well. So here you see projects meet operations when the project is getting closed at the closure, and second time the operations and projects meet when there is a running operations but a new project comes up, for example cost saving, for example improvement in process, or for example efficiency improvement project. These are termed as new projects within the running operations, and that's when the operations and projects intersect. I hope this is clear. Let's move ahead with the current issues in project management are linking projects with organization strategic goals, linking projects with routine tasks, dealing with uncertainty and objective, which is risks, positive and negative both, over reliance on procedures, improving effectiveness, virtual projects and quasi projects. Now, you see, there are basically, these is the kind of type of projects you can say. One is civil or mechanical, then you have manufacturing projects, then you have management projects, and then you have research oriented projects. Based on the requirement of projects, you deploy the respective kind of project management methodologies. For example, civil or mechanical, wherein your scope is completely defined and freezed, you will follow traditional waterfall approach. Similarly, for manufacturing, for management projects which are mostly IT, you will follow agile project management approach. For research projects, you will follow this iteration based project management, because the goal is to find the correctness of the solution. We will discuss them in detail. This here comes the constraint, scope, time, and cost, which is known as triple constraints. Quality, uh, the scope, and quality. The quality standards are already covered in scope. So you either write scope or you either write quality. They are same, but normally scope, we say normally scope, time, and cost, wherein quality is already defined in scope. So this is These three things are known as the constraints: scope, time, and cost. Again, this is also known as triple constraint or iron triangle. Cost: your job as a project manager with a fixed scope is to manage cost and to deliver on time with the respected or defined quality standards. Analyzing projects, we have newness, we have technology, we have complexity, we have pace. So these are four factors based on which you define the impact or project management. How new is the project? Whether it has been done prior or not. For example, moon landing, first timers. Technology, how much new technology is used. Complexity, how small, big, or complex is. For example, laying of fiber cable across continents is highly complex. Then pace is how critical is the time frame. These factors are extremely important. You have strategy, analysis, strategy. So I discussed this here in this example. So as an organization, you have vision. Vision means what do you want to become, and mission, how do you want to become. Based on that, you create portfolios, projects, and programs. I gave an example of Microsoft, wherein their first vision was to have PC at every desk, and then they changed their vision statement to impact, a value of impact on every citizen or citizen of the world, something of that sort. They changed their vision statement quite a few times. So based on that, you define your portfolio, program, and projects. A program is a group of related projects to realize maximum benefits. A portfolio is in alignment of strategy of the organization, and based on the alignment of the based on the alignment with the strategy of the organization, they come up with portfolios. So this is the difference between portfolio, program, and project management. Feasibility studies of financial, technical, environmental. SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. PESTEL is also kind of a feasibility analysis where in P stands for political, E stands for economical, social, technical, legal, and environmental. Okay, introduction to few features, structures, and frameworks of the sort using strategy analysis help us make sense of what we are doing, because the projects and strategies should be in alignment. You should not choose a project which is not in alignment with the strategy or the vision of the organization. Okay, reminder, project management enables us to understand need, problem, or opportunity project will address. Needs assessment, then you have feasibility study, then you defined business case, benefit realization, define what has to be accomplished in terms of scope, cost, time, and quality, determine allocation of resources, develop a plan to implement this, and projects should be aligned to strategic objectives of business and organization. Look at this. This is feasibility analysis. Once initial objectives and strategies have been identified, ranked, and some clarity obtained about the requirement, the next step is to investigate feasibility of each proposal to determine how achievable it is. So, okay, feasibility, as I've explained, major data, it is of three types. Political, economical, and environmental. In economics, we calculate internal rate of return, payback period, time value of money. So these things are calculated, and yeah. How to deal with uncertainty, identifying appropriate strategies, define risks, and determine reasonable objectives. The feasibility study is conducted from a number of different perspectives. For example, PESTLE, PESTLE, political, economical, social, technical, legal, and environmental. You will find a lot of things getting repeated because they are quite fundamentals, but they will be repeated. Feasibility, if you see technological feasibility, technological maturity, technical issues, user friendliness of IT systems, degree of disruption, access to utilities, features analysis, and then you have social feasibility, ecological feasibility, commercial and financial feasibility. These things are extremely important when you are calculating feasibility for a project. I will explain this. I think I have discussed this over here. Yeah. So in initiation, so if you see, we have initiation phase is usually wherein it is done by senior management, CEO, CFO, and CTOs. Normally, there is no PM involvement at this stage, though it should not be the case. In an ideal scenario, PM should be involved from initiation phase, but normally you see in practical life, PMs are involved from planning phases. So initiation phase is composed of needs assessment, feasibility study, business case. In business case, you take a decision of to go or to no go with the project. Then you have project charter, stakeholder register, risk register. So these are the things which are involved in the initiation phase, and it may so happen that in the initiation phase only you realize that the project is not feasibly not viable feasibly, financially feasibility it is not, financial feasibility is not viable, technical feasibility is not viable. In that case, you drop a project over there itself, which is at the initiation phase business case. There are quite a few projects wherein you leave the project after due diligence that it is worth not going ahead because you put a lot of resources, time, and money in planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling and closure. So, also, it may so happen that you have done the project within scope, within time, within cost, but the needs assessment was not captured correctly. So no matter how well you deliver the project will remain unsuccessful. Examples. Examples is BlackBerry, Nokia. When everyone is moving towards Android, they kept on working towards Windows and their own BlackBerry platform. So they could not capture the needs assessment correctly. So let's say if you are a project manager for back then you were working as a project manager for Nokia and on a Windows project, though you completed or delivered the project within scope, within time, within cost, but the organization will not survive or will not, you know, the customer will not be happy with the product because you would have not done the or you have not captured the needs assessment correctly. So this is extremely important, and hence, as a project manager, you need to always ask three questions: how the success looks like, the definition, how will you measure the success, and what factors are going to affect the success. For example, in this case of Nokia, cell phone, let's say you were working on a Windows Nokia project, which was done successfully within scope, time, and cost. But as an organization, or as an organization is failing, no, you can be held accountable that project was not successful. Why? Because the success the success here is directly in relation with the needs assessment captured correctly. Here, the need was not captured correctly, so no one is going to buy those phones, etc. And how will you measure this? There should be a complete criteria on how to measure this success with set artifacts or numbers or detailed report, and what factors are going to affect the success. These three questions as a project manager you must ask. Let's move ahead with a new slide. SWOT analysis. S strength for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threat. Strength and weakness are internal, while opportunities and threats are external. Strengths, how will you use your strengths to minimize the impact from project threats? Weaknesses, how will you ensure that these do not impact on the project opportunities? Opportunities, how will you leverage your project strengths to ensure you benefit from project opportunities? And threats, how will you fix weaknesses that can make threats have a real impact? So as a project manager, your job is to please understand the strength and weaknesses of yourself and for your team, and you see how best you can utilize the opportunities and how you can minimize the threats which are the outcome of your weaknesses. So if you manage these four factors well, you can encash the opportunities and you can withstand the threats, which are risks. All right, strengths. Examples. Necessary does the organization have the necessary staff to do the project? Is the project budget sufficient? What benefits will the project bring to the organization? How experienced are the team members? These are some of the questions which are related, which you can ask to conclude strength. Similarly, for opportunities, you can ask, will this project affect competitor weakness? Are the opportunities to develop relationships with new suppliers and customers are good? Are there opportunities to improve the skill set within the organization? Are there new technologies we can adopt? Weaknesses, the four questions are: does the organization have contingency funding available? Contingency means, let's say, you were allocated 100,000 rupees for a project, and now you have fallen short because of some mistakes, because of some rework. How realistic is the schedule? You should know. Have realistic timelines for the project. How reliable are suppliers, the third parties? Because particularly in projects like construction, you are heavily dependent on your third parties or suppliers. How much expertise will need to be brought in, the skill sets. Threats, what if team members leave? Let's say your main activity is lying next week and the team member who is efficient to work on that activity is no more available. How robust is the technology to be used? What if regulation specifications change in terms of government guidelines? Can competitors copy your success? Which is extremely important, that you should build a product that it is very difficult to copy. Or if there is something that you cannot do about it, please get yourself uh, license or trademark or copyrights. And what if there is an economic downturn? How well you will be able to withstand? For example, 2009 recession. How would you be able to take care of those economic downturns? These things are extremely important. Project selection models. Different actors involved in contributing to project selections are uh, sponsors. So sponsor is someone who will sign off or release the money or team to start working on the project. Then you have PM and team, contractors, stakeholders, owners, customers, and clients. They are nothing but the stakeholders. Stakeholders are of two types. Anyone who is getting affected by a project positively or negatively is a stakeholder, and stakeholders can be internal or external. I've explained about stakeholders in detail in the previous session. Stakeholders are live because they are people, they are humans, and humans have interest. If you are not able to manage stakeholders well, your project may go haywire. So stakeholders are people, they have interest. If their interest is in alignment with the project, which is positive interest, they will support. If the project is not in alignment with their interest, which is negative, they will not support. Stakeholder is a live document. It keeps on changing and there's a variance. You can never freeze this document. You should always go back and reflect and keep revising your stakeholder list and stakeholder analysis. Projects fit to the organization. So more projects than initially understand to be, the project has to be in alignment with the organization. You should not go out for competing projects. You should not look out for projects which are not in alignment with the strategy. Projects should be completely tracked. Cost benefit analysis should be completely should be completely taken care of. Risk management is extremely important. So these are some of the things that as a project manager you should see whether they are in alignment with the organization's objectives and strategies. Non-numeric project selection models are sacred cow is a term wherein the project is giving you fat cash, operating necessity, competitive necessity, product line extensions, comparative benefit, Q-sort model, sustainability, interest. So these are non-numeric approaches to project selection models, while uh, these are numeric project selection models, payback period, what kind of money you are investing in, how much time will it take to give you back that money, discounted cash flows, internal rate of returns, profitability index, unweighted factor models, and weighted factor models. So all these factors are extremely important when you are selecting a project based on the numbers. So weighted models allow for all objectives to be considered, can be adapted to reflect changes in management environment, prevent short-termism, focus on profitability. Problem of assumed rationality. Project selection can be an inherently political process. Sometimes, yes. Must remember human factor of responsibility. Project life cycle. I think we have discussed it right from the beginning. You have initiation phase, then comes planning. Third phase is monitoring and control, and the last is closure. Level of activity at initiation is low, planning is a little more, monitoring and controlling and execution, the level of activity is highest, and while closure also the level of activity is low. In initiation phase, you see you have business case, needs assessment, feasibility study, business case, project charter, stakeholder register. In planning, you have to develop a comprehensive project plan. In execution, monitoring and controlling, you monitor and control the execution and you manage project team and resources. In closer, you have user acceptance and acceptance to sign off on the project and lessons learned. Traditional project management, the client has clearly specified the goal and the project team has defined how they will reach that goal. Little change is expected. Change in intolerant because change in the scope will bring cost, will change schedule. Focus on delivering according to time and budget constraints and rely more on compliance to plan than on delivering business value. So in traditional project management, the main focus is because scope is completely defined. You know what has to deliver. Based on that scope, you have defined your time and schedule. If there is a change in one constraint, it will bring changes and other constraints. For example, if there's a change in scope, mostly time will increase because you expect more to be delivered. Similarly, cost will increase. Hence, in a traditional project management approach, scope is to be fixed or freezed, and your whole agenda or whole goal is to manage or deliver those scope while managing time and cost. Clearly defined goal and solutions. Project management approach, low complexity, few scope change requests. If there is a change in scope, it has to go through proper change control board. Well understood technology infrastructure, low risk experiences, and skilled project teams and plan driven. This is traditional project management approach. Then you have waterfall. This is an example of an IT project. You have to discover business requirements. Based on that, you design technically. Then you develop coding and testing, and then at the test, you deliver and launch. This is an example of waterfall method approach. Project lifecycle, generic waterfall, defined requirements. Again, requirement feasibility analysis, risk analysis, stakeholder analysis, set objective. In planning phase, you have to identify tasks, sequencing, estimate cost, resource sequencing, determine staffing. In execution, you have to monitor schedule, monitor budget, change management, risk management, sign off, and evaluation. So this is the life cycle that you follow in the generic waterfall approach. We discussed this initiating, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closer. And this is the life cycle which is given by PMBOK. Prince 2 is one of the other standards, much like PMI USA. Its PR is projects, IN is in, C is for control, E for environment, established in 1989. It is more, used in UK-based projects, while PMI is majorly used in projects which are US-based. So this is the fundamental difference. Otherwise, rest things are same. Project lifecycle, agile IT projects. In agile IT projects, the scope is not fixed, and that is what differentiates between traditional waterfall project management approach from the agile or the IT projects. In IT projects, the requirement is adapt or accept the change. Changes are welcome. While in traditional approach, the scope is fixed because in IT projects, the feedback is quite frequent, and you have other IT organizations who are coming up with new products each and every day. So feedback cycle is very small. If you do not respond to feedback by customers, you will become obsolete or you will be out of the show. Hence, we wanted something wherein uh, changes are welcomed, changes are accepted. Hence, agile project management came in picture, and which is majorly related with IT projects. So it is a continuous reflection and learning. It removes inefficiencies and waste, building a collaborative team environment and working together to find better ways of delivery. This is agile based project management. Project management processes summary. You have initiation phase, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Initiation phase, you start the project. This would usually include the project charter and feasibility study. In planning phase, selects and develops the best course of action to attain the objective that the project was undertaken to achieve. Execution, it integrates, instructs, and coordinates people and resources to implement and carry out the management plan and make it happen. And monitoring and controlling, identify any variances from the plan. In closing phase, you accept and bring the project to an orderly end. This is the life cycle, and these are the descriptions of this project management processes. Project initiation, plan of action for the whole team, sign off from senior management to start the project, agreement of priorities or objectives or scope between team and the client, and indication of budget, time, and quality. That's what is done in project initiation phase. If you see before and after, and before initiation, you do not have any idea. You have a clear idea of, for starters, or know what kind of things need to be increase your certainty. The project manager, the sponsor may quite have quite different ideas, but here after initiation, they are on the same page. Before initiation, there is no recognized picture of what the project is about, but here you have complete clarity of what the project is about. PID is a project initiation document, also known as project charter. Project charter is a thing wherein you, if you recall, I described in the initiation phase, you have needs assessment, feasibility study, business case, project charter, and stakeholder register. Project charter is a document wherein the confirmation to go ahead or start the project is given by the sponsor. A document issued by the project initiator or sponsor that formally authorizes the existence of a project. You are formally authorized to start a project because the project sponsor have clearly gone through the needs assessment, feasibility study, and business case, and he is okay to start this project. And hence, this is known as project charter. It's a short document and can be changed later with limited changes. Summarizes what the project is, aims, objectives, deliverables, constraints on projects, assumptions, explain why the project is necessary, desirable, the business case, a list of the main areas of work involved, and indication of the time scale, formally authorizes the project, tell us who to be involved, assigns authority to project manager to start. And by creating a project charter, you will answer questions what, why, who, how, and when. This is how a project charter looks like. You have project name, project number, project purpose, client, sponsor, manager, background to the project, statement of requirements, business case, project scope, feasibility study, stakeholder analysis, project constraints, budget, schedule, execution strategy, quality, project methodologies, etc. Let's discuss about planning. Planning, you have to deliver the project in a certain way, managing scope, time, and cost. And before planning, no plan exists in sufficient detail to use to manage and control execution. After planning, there's a plan which exists that is usable for executing the project. The scope is defined loosely and completely in the preliminary scope statement. However, after planning, the scope of the project is well understood, and the scope is further divided into work breakdown structures. Work breakdown structure is the smallest unit of the project which can be tracked and delivered. So if you add up all those small, simple work breakdown structures, it will add up to become a scope. The project manager does not have an intuitive feeling for proceeding confidently, while the project manager feels confident intuitively. The stakeholders are not confident with the plan. However, after planning, stakeholders are being communicated, they've been engaged, and they feel involved with the project. Then comes execution phase. The execution phase definition is work packages and project deliverables are incomplete, while after execution they will be completed. The level of risk is associated with the work package is high. The level of risk associated with the work package is reduced. The project team is underdeveloped and inexperienced. However, the project team have worked together and started to develop some of the skills required to complete the project deliverables. The project communications are largely theoretical. Communications have been tested and can be amended as a result of the experience gained. So this is extremely important. Similarly comes the monitoring and controlling. You are doing proper monitoring and controlling. Risks are either unknown or of certain uncertain probability. Here you have proper risk register that you manage. Changes to the project plan occur due to external influences. Changes are controlled and is integrated into a single well-defined process. Performance of the project is uncertain, but here project performance is measured in relation to the baseline which you have defined in the planning phase. And here comes the closure of before closure, project deliverables have not been formally transferred to others. Project deliverables are formally transferred to others. A cancelled project is closed. Lessons learned, experiences gained on the project are not formally documented. All lessons learned from the project and relevant project documents are archived by the organization. Contracts placed by the projects to contractors external to the organizations are still active. All contracts established by the project are formally closed. So in closure, what you do a sign off, you attach a sign off confirmation by the customer, you attach lessons learned, you also attach the best practices. What is lessons learned? Anything that you have learned in the project that you could have done better, you involve that. Any best practices that you have deployed which helped in the success of the project, you also collect them and put them in the closure phase. Why? Because so that someone who works on the similar kind of project in near future or extended future, they can help you. They can help themselves by your learnings, and they should not end up reinventing the wheel. All right, so this brings us to the closure of this introduction to project management part 2. I hope you have learned something, and I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you, and have a good day, or rather, good evening. Thank you.